According to Mythos, 100% of you are subscribed. Good job.
Hello, and welcome to part 5 of the series where we're going to be going over the lore of every single equation that can be found within Honkai Star Rail's Divergent universe human comedy chapter, right before it switches into the Protean hero. I've been having so much fun reading all these, and in part 5 we're going to be covering the Nihility. We are literally halfway there, and we're about to get depressed, I'm pretty sure. I'm recording this intro before I'm actually reading all of the equations, which is probably not the best thing to do, but I have been seeing some here and there that I'm very excited to learn about. I will admit, I do have a little bit of bias going into this part, mainly because I am a huge fan of the Path of Nihility. Every single character that has come out, I've loved playing them, and in one way, shape, or form, I've always wanted to make them be meta. So yeah, in particular, apparently I have a taste. Fire Nihility have been my favorite characters because we have Guinaifen, Jiaoqiu, and Fugue, my 3 favorite characters so far in the game. With all that being said, however, let us see the lore behind all of these equations. The common mortal. When you accept the flowers from the young man, his antennae twitch slowly, sending subtle electromagnetic waves to your sensor that convey how much he doesn't want to let go. The humble Hymenoptera residents still see you as their friend, even though they can hardly accept someone without compound eyes as one of them. They bring you along as they go back and forth between the honey fields and their nests. In your book, they are described as a group even more savage and despicable than the Annihilation Gang. You can't help wondering what constitutes truth. Pride and prejudice have seeped into knowledge, forming a perfect model of the universe. So much so that it diminishes the value of knowledge, turning it into a mere illusion anyone can tamper with. You know you're lost, but there is no way to find your bearings. Whenever you think the next planet can offer you the answer, it only leaves you more confused than ever. Okay, see, this one feels interesting, because the name of the equation is the common mortal, but in the very beginning it suggests that the main protagonist of this equation is a robot. It mentions how it has like sensors, right? I do love the idea of how the Nihility and the Erudition are sort of looking for the truth, but figuring out that a lot of the things that they have been told has been a lie or deeply exaggerated, and that's causing it to feel confused, lost, and wanting to seek more answers. That is one of the things that I'm really enjoying about this equation. Doctors of Chaos. Nihility is a relentless disease embedded within existence, gnawing at consciousness, life, and the very fabric of the universe. The gloomy abyss consumes the body of self-annihilators, while the fog of self-doubt pulls civilization into black holes. How profoundly tragic their being is, and how diminutive you are in comparison. You will mend the flaws they left behind, filling the hollow chambers of the human heart with jigsaw pieces of meaning. You will hold those who wander in a delicate trance, using clouds and potions to calm the world's aching void. You will catch every soul about to jump into the whirlpool and soothe every spirit fallen into annihilation. At last, you will prove the existence of the self and show that everything holds meaning. One day, you will stand face to face with that dark celestial body and heal the god who exists within this world. Okay, This one I'm genuinely surprised is not a 5-star equation. With how much lore we explored from the Doctors of Chaos in the Curio series, my goodness me, there was so much. They fuck up so much. But like, they try their best, and I appreciate them for that. But I genuinely thought we would be getting more in regards to them. I still like that they do genuinely care about like their ideals to the point that they want to cure a god. But yeah, the Night Watch. When Winter Suite 2 turned into a black hole due to gravitational collapse, drawing numerous onlookers, you suddenly had the urge to open the protective barrier of the sightseeing ship and take a leap toward the event horizon of intertwining light and darkness. Death is always tempting. It is like a carnivorous plant with the brightest colors in the forest that lures the insects yet cuts off their path. Where should life lead? You have no clue, but you are certain death is not the answer. You listen to each sorrowful tale, seeing them seep into the crevices in the cosmos, making the hopeless journey seem insurmountable. Even so, you still yearn to be a guardian at the edge of the black hole. You want to stop the children who intended to plunge into Nihility and tell them the future lies in the other direction. Alright, not gonna lie, I was very skeptical because I didn't really know how they would pull off a good equation lore with the Nihility and the preservation, but they killed it. Having an entity that is the Night Watch, in particular just being someone that is gatekeeping a black hole of Nihility and making sure that nobody goes there, making sure that even though they want to suffer their end, they're still gonna remain there to make sure that others don't have to like face the same fate that they are facing, is just so perfect. The Rescuer. You see that your every move is being predicted with flawless precision. You understand that everything you do is no more than a fixed trajectory. The silhouette of Nihility envelops you. You may struggle or accept it, but they will all eventually annihilate in a pre-written storybook. Will you accept this? All you have to do is forget and spend the rest of your life in uncaring bliss. No, you must fight back. You must raise a battle cry. You must raise the flag of rebellion against the tragic universe and save the people from the pre-written conclusion. Massacre, destruction. You point the mouth of the cannon at the ones you love most. No hesitation, no suffering. Just close your eyes for a second and you can help them escape this world where life is worse than death. However, you must still bear the torture of staying alive, as there are many more that wait for destruction's salvation. Well, that one became just so dark. I genuinely thought that this person was about to like fight off these like thoughts of nihility and pop off against the opponents. Not that they would just annihilate everybody that they cared and loved about. What the hell, Hoyo? The Sin Thirster. When they send you the target's information, they only watch you from afar and dread to come closer. Hailed as a moving dagger, you are assigned to eliminate enemies efficiently with no sense of self. You suppress your presence, avoiding the sight of both human and machines. You complete the assignment swiftly, as it is a walk in the park for you. You try to recall the target's expression, shock and fear. A vicious assassin might find pleasure in this, but you see your own end within. Once all enemies have been eradicated, the assassin will no longer be needed. You should have never chosen this path from the beginning. Under Freya's ensanguined suppression, no one has lent you a helping hand, and the fallen detective has never given you a choice. When your employer's servants knock on your door, you get up as usual and head towards the exit to accept the fact that you are already dead. The Death Denier. You awaken in your cold hospital bed as the sweet smell of food makes you nearly sick. Trans-Cresty syndrome is a complete breakdown of the body, starting with the immune system. As you look over to the side of your bed, you see the water tank that held poor Lang's cephalopod patient not long ago, whose non-stop mumbling in the tank would keep you awake all night. The scholars on the news are showing viewers bottles that load black holes, but black holes are so far from you and you cannot leave your hospital room. Anything outside of this cube is a space that may as well not exist. Survival is an endless struggle. Some win, some lose, and some will choose to quit. Even though death is always patiently waiting at the end, you remain resolute that you will take your first victory before you meet it. Well, damn, we went to depressing right immediately. I do like how this is like a big contrast between the other Nihility and Abundance equation that is the Doctors of Chaos, because that one seems very hopeful. It's about people trying to cure the Nihility. This one is someone trying to fight off the Nihility and trying to fight off their death. And it's still incredibly depressing, but I do like the little twist that they gave it in this particular scenario. I did think, however, that the line about anything outside of this cube is a space that might as well not exist to be like very depressing and very dark. But I feel like that is really what just adds a lot of charm and meaning to this equation. The Executor of Vengeance. Information of the commission sinks into the depths of the crystal, delivering precise and ambiguous coordinates. You navigate through the shielding of the cognitive recognition field, purchase a ticket to the outskirts of the city and access rights to the 10 cubic meters of oxygen before ascending the creaky stairs to the rickety apartment. An Intellitron with less than 10,000 system hours of runtime. A young man. Is it a vendetta, a love affair, or a business feud? You pass through the quarantine door, gun aimed squarely at his brow. Confused, his logic circuits rapidly process the situation. He knows who is trying to kill him and why. So he pays you handsomely. You return with a core and leave with 2 heads. If revenge breeds more revenge, then let death end the chain of hatred. It is not curiosity driving you. You're merely fulfilling their wishes. This one, I'm so confused. Why is this one considered to be a Nihility one? Am I just I don't know. If I had to guess, right? I think it is because of the approach that this person takes into the hunt, where they really don't have any drive in wanting to kill. They just do so because they want to fulfill the wishes of their clients. To the point that even though he was about to murder the Intellitron kind of just went like, hey, before you kill me, can I pay you to murder the person that made the hit on me? And this entity just did. That's why he has two heads now, because he ended up murdering the Intellitron and whoever sent the hitman to kill the Intellitron. The Jester of Anatta. You swallow a tiny protozoa's egg, which explodes like a bomb in your mouth at the moment it comes into contact with your saliva. The audience cracks up at the sight and applauds your funny look, but they will soon forget about you and turn their attention to more exciting shows. You need to find something more eye-catching for your performance. It can be blowing up the farm in highest federation, setting the nosewalkers free to run on the streets. It can be stealing the tycoon's pocket watch and being pursued by the private guards of the capital of passion. It is self-destructive and meaningless, but everyone will cheer for your absurd actions. They will burst into laughter as they watch the funniest clown in the universe. When the stage crumbles in self-destruction, the audience leaves in disappointment. Lying in rags and debris, you mock your pathetic self. Okay, not gonna lie, this might just be my favorite equation so far, like generally speaking, because like this is honestly just the situation that we have on YouTube and others like social media, where people just make fool of themselves. They try to get like rage bait and try to make sure that they can get the most amount of views by infuriating people or making the fools out of themselves. I love this. This is so internet coded and it's so good for the nihility and the elation. Literally the state of the internet. Just, I love it. The Sizzling Thunder. Standing in the middle of the stage, you stare at the bleak shade of red in the sky, knowing what will happen next. The much-awaited future will never come. The sorrowful past will fade into the white dwarf star's vortex, and sheer silence will ensue. Timid lords will escape by starships, and helpless children will weep on the streets. As for you, you will remain standing here until the last ounce of your life is ablaze in conflagration. You know everything has lost its meaning, and no one can rewrite how things end. Yet, you insist on singing for this planet you hate vehemently, for it is rotten but warm. You want to sing for the sun that kills, but it's glaring yet gorgeous. Even though everything is coming to an end, you want to express your love for this damned world one last time. With the song's thunderous echo, you let the entire universe know that a band and a planet named Eri Mod 3 once existed. The Relative Tracer. What a magnificent aphorism. The concept of relative cognition lost to history. You became a devout disciple of this bygone school of thought when you clutched that straw as your ego fell. You know that so-called reality is merely an island formed amidst chaotic cognitive fluid, and that the world will shift according to your imagination as long as your beliefs are transformed. You are no longer swayed by fancy words, choosing instead to heed the maxims that explain everything. You map your world onto a canvas devoid of abstract concepts, of gravitational forces that rend the heavens, and of absolute truth. Instead, there are only malleable cognition and the void. When you open your eyes, the world comes into being. When you close them, the world vanishes. The adults say that the world is going to be destroyed and that the endless glaciers will crash into the continent, obliterating the surface under the pull of gravity. Then, the frozen seal of the pre-battle caregiver will plunge all life into eternal silence. But you firmly believe that this is no more than the fake and misleading words of man. You feel an intense cold and begin to shiver, but this is just another illusion, a trap trying to enforce these ideas on your mind. You close your eyes and attempt to picture the real world in your mind. There is no cold. A world of warmth, where the entire universe is sealed inside a bottle. There is no such thing as other planets or aliens. They are all sensational stories made up to trick children. All of those diplomats that swear they have seen aliens before, they are simply naming things they have seen as aliens. For example, a vacuum cleaner known as an alien. Another example of a relative cognition at work. You hear the sound of a tall building collapsing and find yourself plummeting to the earth below, but you're not scared. You can just give it another interpretation. I have become a leaf. If you close your eyes, all pain is no more than illusion. You continue to picture your world, the real world in which everyone can live happily ever after. The screams you hear out the window are simply the calls of birds celebrating a lavish wedding ceremony. A freezing liquid drips onto your leg as you feel a shock. Do not open your eyes. The moment you open your eyes, you will be taken in by the deceit of the false reality. You curl into a ball and find yourself pulled deep into the depths of the void, into your own personal, sealed off, and perfect snow globe. Oh boy, now this one is so messed up. I didn't think anything could beat the Jester of Anatta. No, this one knocked it out of the park. Seeing this entity that refuses to acknowledge reality, calling reality fake, and just making everything be about the way that they should be perceiving the world is absolutely insane. I genuinely think this has been my favorite one out of all of these equations so far. And it's so messed up seeing how it literally drives itself to that point of delusion that it says to itself, don't open your eyes. If you open your eyes, you'll be succumbed to the real world, quote unquote, and therefore you will suffer. And it's like, what? That is just, damn. The Self-Proof Institute. The mercilessness of the universe is in the annihilation of the soul. When people reach the end, they walk towards the void. There is no future, no new life. They bring nothing with them, as if they've come to this world from the future. This is why death is oh so horrifying. But even so, people can still leave something behind. A symbol of the fight against Nihility, as proof that certain names once existed. You have answered riddles that stumped the world, etching your name using formulae and history. You have treated plagues that ravage stars, where white crystalline statues erected in your honor will far outlive you. Time is too short. Thus, your mind and hands never stop for a moment. Proposing axioms and creating machines, the people worship your relentless diligence, but never sense your fear. In the gravel deserts of the planet Tarion, hot gusts blow through the sands as you drag your ever-aging body slowly through this desolate wasteland. Many amber eras ago, lush wetlands and grasses enveloped the area here, but they regressed to Nihility before you could. The flowers are lucky. They can never fear, let alone grow attached to the value of existence. Intelligent life has the power to open its eyes, and so it must face down that ever-approaching finality. What does one have to create in order to leave behind traces of our existence? Create stars. But can this really reach eternity? You can't ask yourself this question over and over again. Even if you devote your whole life's wisdom to it, there's still no way of fishing up an answer from the ocean of knowledge. You kneel down upon the wasteland, letting the gravel dig into your knee and draw blood. The blinding winds dry up your pouring tears, as though laughing at your foolishness or comforting your sorrows. What's the point of going all out just to prove yourself? You keep trying to leave traces behind of your existence, but gradually end up just losing yourself. I'm feeling very tired. Lying down ever so gently on the ground, you feel the boiling rocks hurting your skin. It has been such a long time since you have felt so clearly that you are still alive. If you die, you die. The only thing that can replace life is life itself. The occasional flowers sprout out from among the gravel. They lie dormant beneath the hot sun and sprout shoots once the rain falls. Looking at these little flowers, you finally discover the gift that you want to leave behind for the mortal world. Can it really be forever? Maybe not. You sow your final seed of invention. May they bloom among the desert gravel until flowers cover the entire wilderness. May they continue to proudly face the nihilistic future long after you're gone. And again, like this one, I was honestly struggling to understand why this was a combination between the Nihility and the erudition, and then it all made sense in the terms of like self-proof, as in trying to make sure that nobody forgets about them. And it's so rough because, like, legitimately speaking, this person knows they're about to die, but they still want to be able to leave a sort of mark in the world to make sure that the knowledge, or at least that the name of the place where they existed, is at least remembered for something, even if it's insignificant, just so it's not lost forever in eternity. And that's really cool design. The Self-Annihilator. The spiraling, fathomless abyss hovers in the misted dream, deeper and darker than the dimmest corner of the world, where even the lightless background can also cast slices of shadow on it. You gaze at the vortex, your life infinitely extended, diced into shards that flow and fall from the ground into the sky. You jump up, hoping to keep your doppelganger, but when you stretch your hand to touch it, all you can feel is a cold wall. This is your home, but it may also not be. Your memories full of holes gradually rotting away. You see your other self walked out, open the door, but fall right into darkness with one step. You try to rush over and catch him, but you can't seem to find your vanished arms. You raise your head in bewilderment. The sun has sunk into the great sea, and like melted flakes of snow, you also start to melt. You are fading into yourself. Perhaps you are the sun. You once again fall into the abyss. A dark road appears before you, like a scar carved into the dim world. You stagger up, withered limbs creaking and cracking. You move along the road almost out of instinct as sharp thorns pierce into you. But you have long forgotten any sense of pain, perhaps even your entire body, so that you cannot even tell the difference between dream and reality. The path grows narrower, like a rope. You can see the city on both sides and a butterfly floating past in the air. What a pity. You hope it won't drown in the air. What is death? You have no interest in finding the answer to the problem. You dully observe your festering self to be verging on collapse, like a baby watching an anthill being flooded by the rain. The ants float on the water until the weather clears and they start to rot in the soil. You will also become like an ant, helplessly and unconsciously moving on down the line, sliding up towards the sky. I don't want things to end like this. Your voice is swallowed by your broken throat, and you cannot say a thing. Luckily, this should be the final thing that you ever lose, and you will never again feel any pain or sadness because of it. Things are just like returning to the womb, as you gradually lose your limbs and shrink back into an embryo, converging into a single cell. The path beneath you disappears, and you no longer have any grasp on eternity. It snaps, letting you fall down into the abyss at the edge of the horizon. Everything falls silent. In all honesty, 3 out of 3. All the 5-star equations from the Path of Nihility have had me very, engrossed into the topic. It is so terrifying, but also so cool. And I'm really hoping that this maybe has something to do with Amphorius. Mainly, I'm just delusional, and this was all along a reference to Castoris. But in the extrapolation, right? There's like the choices between what is the butterfly and what is death. And that is kind of just like the signature animal of Castoris. She and butterflies are heavily associated as far as I could remember. So if there is hints of self-annihilators within Amphorius, that would actually be pretty sick. Anyways, that's really all I could think about for this one. And with that, we have gone through every single one of these equations. My goodness me, that was a lot of fun. That was great. In all honesty, I was expecting to end up super sad and depressed after reading all of the equations from the Nihility, given that it is the Nihility. But no, I don't think it was that terrifying. That could also be because I just finished reading all the lore of the equations of the abundance, and those were fun. If you guys haven't checked out the video on the abundance, it's the previous part 4, and you're gonna love it. Trust me, this isn't me coping. Anyways, no, I genuinely had a lot of fun reading these. As I had mentioned before, the Jester of Anatta is probably my favorite equation out of the entire bunch, if it had not been for the relative tracer, purely because the Jester of Anatta is the perfect way to resemble the internet as a whole. How bad people just how badly people want the fame, the attention, the spotlight, to the point that they will do really stupid shit just to be able to appear online, to just rage bait and do stupid shenanigans. I don't know, I just feel like that was very fitting, and hence why it's one of my favorites. The relative tracer left me traumatized, but I loved it. And yeah, as a whole, 10 out of 10. Would definitely love to get more equations from the Path of Nihility. With all that being said and done though, I'm hoping you guys have been enjoying the series. We have reached the halfway point, 5 out of 9. And yeah, the next one will be on the Air Edition, which I'm very much looking forward to. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know down in the comments which of the equations you liked most, which ones you felt were really cool. Maybe there was one that I kind of just brushed off that should have been more like concerning than it should be. And I didn't like really quite like associate it that way. Anyways, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, night, morning, whatever time zone you're currently watching this video at. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.